Hello everybody, I'm Tom and you are watching me play Disco Elysium. In the last episode, we walked around and we talked to all of the lorry drivers to learn about, quote-unquote, the lady driver, who is apparently in the drug trade. But having done that, we did eventually force this driver up here. Unfortunately, he was her friend, the only person who actually talked to her, but we kind of forced him to give us information, which he disliked, but... And honestly, I kind of disliked doing it to him, but he did give us the key to her truck. That could be useful.
The screen found, A to Z, Contraband, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This is the one our men pointed to.
Try to peek into the window.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of the seat and two steering levers. Posters cover the small windows in the back. You can't make out what's on them.
Try the door handle.
The door is locked. The handle looks shiny, like it's recently replaced.
Interesting. Just updated the lock to make it hard to get in. Unlock the door with a key.
You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then the door pops back.
Open it.
The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. There's something odd about the passenger seat. The seating fabric has been pulled tight over the lower side of the seat where the toolbox should be.
Peel off the cover on the passenger seat.
Voila! A stack of neatly folded papers has been stashed behind the seating fabric. You see 3 maps depicting a large metropolitan area. It's Revachol. Some of its routes and highways have been outlined with a pen.
Interesting.
Bonne prise.
Oh, nice. The lieutenant commends you as you shift through the treasure, well worn and folded into neat squares. Hold open the topmost map.
This large map displays the elevated motorway called 881. The intake leading to Martinez is marked with a blue X. There's another X on the off-ramp at a place called the Old South. Toll booths at the intakes are marked with a circle. It looks like there are scant few ways of getting onto the elevated motorway that runs over Jamrock, and this person knows them all. There, hundreds of thousands of motor carriages roar on the 881. High above the massive brown and red roofs, that is Jamrock. The commuters don't even look down. The world ceases to exist outside the windshield.
Where does the road lead?
To Couron, through the middle-income neighborhoods there, by the river, and then to Stella Maris and La Delta for work, while the men and women of Jamrock scuttle to their fates below the road.
Pull open the second map.
This municipal map from the 30s displays a complex system of storm sewers underneath a sub-district called the Pox, old military hospital. Right
Hell of a name for a hospital.
To the 41st precinct.
The Pox.
No storm will ever drown Revachol. The great solution to the riddle of history.
Third map.
The final map displays a labyrinth of service tunnels left over from the construction of Motorway 881. A few routes have been marked with a pen, where the tunnels and sewers surface near the eminent domain, and a traffic island in central Jamrock by the lake. Looks like the smugglers have infiltrated the road network belonging to East Motor Tract.
Smugglers have infiltrated the motor tract.
So it would seem. The RCM patrols most of these auxiliary roads, though apparently not all of them.
Where does the contraband end up?
Hard to say. This distribution network looks certainly large, yet still vague enough. It doesn't reveal much about the Besmerti behind it.
Besmerti, that sounds vaguely familiar.
The Besmerti is a Revacholian crime syndicate. They see themselves as the inheritors of the 14 Revacholian Indo-tribes, but really they're just violent gangs vying for control on the west side of Revachol.
Makes sense.
With cool names like La Puta Madre and Aura Masta. It's a dark parody.
With cool names, he adds with contempt. Who do you think's behind this?
It's definitely not the Union. They just do some logistics. This operation has spread everywhere in Jamrock. If it's that widespread, then Madre remains the most likely suspect. Here's bad news. There have been attempts at a serious investigation before, but they haven't ended well for those involved. Best not to disturb the scene. I'll have forensics go over the lorry and pick this up later.
The stack of maps looks just like before, barely noticeable. The movie stars look silently by, and the pull-out toolbox has a rubber handle, worn from years of use.
Admire the posters.
These are movie posters, featuring starlets from long-forgotten films, from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye, a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. There's definitely perfume in the air. It's spicy, with a hint of amberette, wafting through the bitter air of the cabin.
What's that smell?
The remnants of a sweet juniper-scented perfume, probably Grenade number 5.
Study the centerfold.
The actress is draped in a sheathed dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster.
Interesting.
She's looking past the camera. Wait, doesn't she resemble someone you know? But you can't put your finger on whom exactly. This is Tip Tijon, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography, less known for her talent than her tragic, untimely death.
What happened to her?
She wasted away in a drug den called Door to the River. Not far from here, on Boogie Street, a mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world, and the camera, too.
Interesting. I wonder whether this girl idolized... She's got a poster of her. Maybe she idolized that woman. Maybe she wants to kill herself in the same way.
The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard, and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat.
Examine the radio.
Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least.
Why would someone need so many radio stations?
For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation, with quite a range too.
Is there anything we can do with the radio?
Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key.
The ghostly actresses, and the rusty toolbox under the driver's seat, and the oddly bulging seat cover.
Check the pedals.
You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
The shoe. Looks like the driver has glued a bit of sandpaper to the throttle to offer some extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique?
Sandpaper will also rub off the pattern from the driver's right boot sole.
Yes?
Do the honors, he thinks. Connect it yourself.
One of the footprints at the crime scene had an aberration. One sole was smoother than the other.
Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching.
First the drug smuggling, now this. How deep does this rabbit hole go?
Now we know for certain who is the missing 8th person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation?
Not necessarily. The lady driver could have kept the drug trade a secret. This is better. This would fit what Joyce told us, but I don't want to make any assumptions.
Understood. We should still go and see what Titus has got to say on the matter. Are we finished with the lorry?
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. The radio transmitter sits on the center console, and a faint smell of perfume is in the air.
It's really clever the way they do this. is that after every single one of these, they give you effectively the same information, but they do it, it's a different dialogue thing, so it's not repeating the same dialogue every time you go into or come out of a dialogue choice here. Pull out
A
toolbox.
metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper.
Unfold the newspaper.
It's an issue of Peripherique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages.
Pick up the note.
It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
Push in the pull-out toolbox.
The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest.
Interesting.
The rest is as it was. Posters, a radio, dust on the windows.
Close the door.
Close the rusty old lorry door.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce?
Sure.
Alright, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep.
Seems like something police would do. What do you think of all this, Kim?
Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net.
This means it's well funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. Oh, and the maps we found. They reveal the geographical extent of the operation. Looks like they've used abandoned tunnels and access roads to stay hidden. This is useful info. And last but not least, it looks like the Hardy Boys knew this driver, as we know that she was present at the lynching. This may be the Union connection we've been searching for.
The probe and the case converged, he thinks. This was quite the find.
So it turns out this is connected to the Union.
Like Joyce told us, yes, logistically. But don't expect to bust this open during our stay here. At best, this is an angle we can use against them, to other ends, as extra ammunition.
Will the RTM open an investigation into this, or are they too scared?
We should return to the murder case. See what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that.
What are you thinking?
The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean.
I was thinking the same
Especially
thing.
if the Madrid grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome.
Corruption?
All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either.
Alright, debrief over.
Debrief over. After you.
So, I kind of want to confront the Hardy Boys now before we go, but well, I've got to run the whole way around. I kind of want to confront the Hardy Boys now we've got a bit more ammo on them. And then I want to go talk to... I'm going to try and talk to him and see if I can say anything, actually. And then I'll go talk to Joyce
Oh,
afterwards.
look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person.
I was hoping we could tell him what we found, which isn't something you should do as a police officer, but I feel like he may deserve to know. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. So I can report back to Joyce, and we can also confront the Hardy Boys, so I'm going to confront Titus about that, I think. But we're going to do that next episode. This was a shorter episode, but I feel like either of the things I'm about to do are going to take a fairly long time, so let's do a shorter episode, shall we? Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And as always, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye, guys.